Welcome to the Amazing Truth Podcast, a podcast where we focus on real issues and have real talk, and as always, provide a biblical perspective. We hope that you will be blessed as you listen.
Hello and welcome to the Amazing Truth Podcast. This is the Amazing Truth Minute.
This is the Amazing Truth Podcast. The Amazing Truth Podcast. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Stitcher. Like us on Facebook at the Amazing Truth Podcast. The Amazing Truth Podcast. Real issues, real talk.
For the Amazing Truth Minute, I came across a quote by Al Roker. And it says, "Always be yourself. At the end of the day, that's all you've really got. When you strip everything down, that's all you've got. So always be yourself." Again, I read, "Always be yourself. At the end of the day, that's all you've really got. When you strip everything down, that's all you've really got. So always be yourself." Ponder on that, and that is the Amazing Truth Minute.
This is the Amazing Truth Podcast. The Amazing Truth Podcast. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Stitcher. Like us on Facebook at the Amazing Truth Podcast. The Amazing Truth Podcast. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back, Kenan.
Yes, sir.
You see how I'm seated?
I see you're relaxed.
I am so relaxed. I'm telling you today, it is about to go down.
Yes.
I didn't even change my t-shirts. I'm here.
So you're giving away our secrets.
Because I never left. But hey, viewers, listeners, we want to say thank you so much for making this your number one. Number one. I mean, there's some who make it number two, but for those who make it number one,
I think number two is also two.
Number two is also
three.
good.
We have
Three
a problem.
also okay. But even number last, we welcome you. We just
As
love
long as you
all.
listen.
As long as you listen. But this is your podcast where you get the real conversation as raw as they come from the people themselves, as where we come to debrief, where we come to reflect, where we come to learn, where we come to grow, and where we come to acknowledge the existence of a God who actually walks us through our journey and everything. So celebrate you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining. As usual, Kenan is here with me.
Yes.
We have discovered that those one shows by each other, they did well, something misses. So
Something
we're
misses.
back together here again.
That's true.
And for those of you who haven't listened to the previous podcast, just pause.
Yeah.
Because you won't even know the guest. And you will be missing some good gems that were dropped last time.
Yeah.
So Deno is back again with us. And just to give a glimpse of where we were last time, is Deno shared with us his journey. Born and raised in Kisumu, has an affinity and love for fish in Kenya.
He just told me off camera that he ate a whole fish.
He did eat a fish.
Whole fish, man.
We know why.
Oh, yeah,
we know why.
yeah, we
for
don't
those,
blame
for those
you,
of you who don't come from Kenya, this is the lakeside. This is where the
seafood is.
The seafood is the real deal there. So I was born and raised in Nakuru. At the age of 11, went to a boarding school. During his second term in school, he lost his father, and that was a defining moment of his life. Being the only son in the family, there's this pressure, this desire, this expectation of him being the man of the family, and how he carried that through in his academics. Transitioned to this country at the age of around 15, went to high school, culture shock, struggling with that. Finds out at the senior year that because of him being undocumented, he's not able to go to college. He drops out everything that he was interested in doing. And if you want to catch more and learn more, pause, rewind, go back and listen to the previous podcast.
Yeah, and as off camera, I think we all, as we were preparing for this episode, there's some words that Dennis shared with us, and I'll just quote him here. He says that so we talked about abandonment issues. He lost his father. Mom comes. So he he's growing up by himself, and that brought some abandonment issues. And it's something he told us was that abandonment issues can present themselves in three insecure attachment styles. Avoid attachment style. People who follow this style don't allow anyone close to them. He didn't allow. So when he was going to high school,
put his wall.
Put his wall. You may feel like you can't open up or trust others, making you appear distant, private, or withdrawn. Anxious attachment style. So you're close and dependent relation. You have a separation anxiety when you're not with people. So, and these are things too. You unconsciously you encounter them. Disorganized attachment style. You have difficulty remaining intimate and close, but can also be inconsistent. You may feel anxious about being in a relationship or want to avoid the closeness. So those are three styles. You might isolate, and then you might you close so close to people that when people leave you have separation anxiety. And the third one is you're dependent. You're disorganized. You feel anxious about being in a relationship, but then you avoid the closeness, so you're not kind of somewhere in between. So, but yours, I think what you talked more is that you isolate from people much. Right?
All right. Well, welcome back, Dino. Let's pick it up where we were, and let's make it rock and roll.
Yeah.
So, Dino, you finish high school. How do you make it work now when you go to college? Now, you can't go to college. So what happens?
So those years were bleak. Okay. So without college, of course, now the only thing remaining to gain my papers is the only one route people usually take in this situation. Like we have had guests over here talk, right?
Yeah.
So at that age, now that is my only option. So gone out of the window is the idea of actually finding someone who I enjoy spending time with and love, and try to actually work on this feeling called love versus here's another duty, here's another responsibility that you gotta do. So jump onto that one. Okay. So I'm trying to balance the works, right?
Yeah.
No school, but I still have that job that I go to that is actually putting some shoes on my feet. On the other hand, I'm trying to look forward to see what else is there for me to do, because now I got a glass ceiling. Unless I shatter it, I'm still gonna be doing that old job that I've always been doing, which was not really sustainable, right? So of course I indulge. I waited out for many years before I start working on the papers. But in the meantime, life was not going well. You can't drive. This is America. You can't drive. Always relying on people for rides. On the other hand, I don't like asking people for rides. So it's more like it's like a snake that is eating itself, right? It's that always constant circle that is going on. So I tried to go to North Hennepin once during that time when I was undocumented, and that's a good thing about over there. They just let me go in, But for the first time in my life, my schoolwork suffered. Okay, because right then something happened to me. I really can't explain it, but I lost all my motivation to go to school. Okay, because I think the generally what my gut was telling me now. Okay, fine, you go, you get your associates or whatever they give at North Hennepin, and then what? The future is still bleak. So like I will take one class for a whole semester. The rest of the semester I'm either sleeping or going to work. So much time wasted because I was stuck. I didn't know what to do moving forward. So many things pulling me apart at that time.
Okay. So you end up going to college eventually.
Eventually, I went up going to college. Yeah.
So eventually, before you get to going to college now, you sound frustrated. You're taking class for the sake of class, but really you don't see the future. You are lost. You seem lost. There's no motivation. Academics then is not motivating it. You can't run. You can't cope with it more. So you finally work your way through. You get documented. Then what?
So when I got documented, we were having a conversation with my mom one time, because that time I was Rach the DJ, right?
Yeah. So you became a DJ at that point.
I became a DJ also to get some few change in my pocket.
Okay.
So we started the tech DJs, go out there having fun, bringing the crowd. Learned out that I actually enjoy music. I had the knack for it. I was like, oh, okay. I dove, right into it. Good things were happening. Now at that time we were living in Brooklyn Park. We had this nice house. We had a pool in the back. We were supposed to get people start jumping in there. And they were having a conversation with my mother. She told me, there is no way you can actually stay around and go to school, right? Because she knew the distractions that were happening over here. I was always out DJing, having friends, just being out there. That was not a good environment for somebody who actually needed to do what he does best, right?
Which is education for you. Yeah.
Okay. So I went to North Dakota, and North Dakota.
Fun fact about that house. I remember we had a punching bag.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to box, man.
You used to?
Yeah, we used to.
I'm glad you said used to.
They had a punching
Right now,
bag in
we'll
the
take you to
garage,
the
we used
hospital. The age has caught up with you. But I want to say something as we slide into you going now to college, right? I want to say something that even for people like I, who knew from the outside, we don't know this story, but we know DJ Raj. We don't understand that the reason why you're DJ Raj is because this time there's nothing really you can do. The job that you're working is just can make both ends meet. This is academics has hit the ceiling, and this is where your energy is being channeled. Like this is also a coping, mechanism. It's a space and a place that's giving you that safe space and a safe place. And it's such a shame, Kenan, that we will know someone, but I wouldn't have this whole backdrop or background of the story.
Because that's what you see.
That's what you see, and thanks for sharing that. So now your mom gives you this pep talk. I call it pep talk, parental talk. Dakota, now you ship yourself.
And this like let's further studies.
For further studies.
I like that episode. Somebody was shipped to India. I laughed so hard.
That episode is terrible. Someone was shipped to India.
We have one here.
That would be a fun episode. So this is what age now you want to put timelines.
Yeah, what age are you now by the time you get to college?
Oh, this happened recently, actually, because that time after high school to me getting documented was a while.
Was a minute.
So that's where the distractions come in. That you're trying to janitor, you're trying to be a DJ, you're doing all these things, but you're
not abusing at this point or using.
No.
So you're just having a good time.
So and then what made you go to North Dakota? What was that turning point for you that made you now go to college?
Needed, right? Like mom say, find a good place where you can actually study and do things that you need to do.
Yeah.
Also, North Dakota was close enough in such a way that it was far enough for me not be traveling back home all the time, like the way I used to sneak away from school.
From Nakuru. This is it's a molo 2.0.
But close enough, I can come back home if there's an emergency or something like that.
Yes.
The
Ongeri, the cement, the Ongeri, the sun.
And how's your relationship with your mom then? It sounds like you're listening to her, the advice she's giving you. Have you formed a bond with her? Now, you lived far away from her for a long time.
Yeah.
Considering, have you found a relationship? Briefly, how's that relationship?
Actually, the relationship is quite great. It's like
at that point.
It's like
at that point, when you go to college, your relationship with your mom, you're close. You've rebuilt the years that you've lost?
So we have rebuilt the years, but not all that because my mom was also a traveling nurse at the time.
Okay.
So she was traveling back and forth in Dakotas.
Yeah.
She would be gone and then come back. So they still that.
Yeah.
distance and things like that. But relationship is good.
Yeah.
It is solid. We know where we stand.
That's good.
So you go to college.
And I listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've always
Always done.
listen. Yeah. So I go to college. Actually, I signed up first to what is it called, ITT or something, tech. We'll circle back to that.
As we do social behaviors,
Mhm.
IT stuff we don't know.
So the idea was me and my cousin, we go to college because he also needed to go to college.
Yeah.
Can't leave somebody behind. So the idea, so it was me and my cousin and one of my former friend. We were like, we will go there. I will go first because I'm there. I'll go there, get an apartment, for the boys, so that you can come get your study on. Make something of yourself.
Yep.
So that happened. I went, got a 3-bedroom apartment. My cousin joined me later on. So we made that dream work of going out and getting our degrees, and finishing what we needed to be done.
Yeah.
But of course, going there is also a new chapter, But right now, I'm not so green like I was when I was in high school. Not least, I've been able to enjoy life, see things that are out there, understand how people,
culture here and stuff.
Yeah, So that was when I was 25.
Okay.
Okay. So I was
A lot
25.
of years have passed. Okay.
So, but yeah, those years have passed. I've developed into
7 years.
Yeah.
So you get initiated. You mentioned now you get to college now. How is college life now?
So college is college. First of all, it's way in the boonies, It's just cold. Because the first time I went there, it was January 10th. I just went back to Kenya for the first time ever. Okay? So I came back with, extra tan too, right? So
Your tint was
my tint was off the charts, right? And then I got back on the 9th and then 10th, I had to drive to North Dakota. So I drive, it's freezing. It was that year, it was like minus 20 or something. The solstice, that was then. It was really cold. Yeah. So I take my car. I used to have that nice car that I was proud of. So when I went to college, it was good fun. So I got to meet new people. Made some friends.
Now the frat.
So join the frat, keg stand, just initially I never. First of all, drinking. I realized drinking beer is just a nasty thing to do to begin with. Even when I was drinking, I would never drink beer, right? But when I was initiated, I was like, "Ooh, now fraternity is way of me to expand my social circles, right? Because brotherhood, right? Always, now, and forever."
And remember, childhood social is a skill, an area where you are lacking.
Yeah.
So now he's a frat that's offering that area.
So I go there, that's when I started, drinking the fire water, But before joining all together there, I got the look at the fees that are usually charged
to join the frat
for fraternity. I looked at that. I was like, "Yeah, this is not happening." So I dropped out of the fraternity after a semester. Okay. Even though I dropped off, I was still friends and brothers with those people. So I used to go there all the time. Whenever they're having parties, that's where I'd be. Actually went there with my instruments. DJs, I used to DJ for them too. When they are throwing a fraternity party, that was me right there doing my thing, right? Because they say if you're good at something, just
be good at it.
So with the partying, because I never used to drink when I was a DJ. People just used to know me, that's the DJ who doesn't drink, because that was not... I knew for sure, even when I was young, I have an addictive personality. If I find something that I like, I really like it.
You go all the way.
Yeah. Ain't no stops. Ain't no breaking for nothing. I grab it because I had really few passions in life. Okay. So not a whole lot really interested me other than school. But I knew if I find something,
On the way.
all the way downhill. So when I started drinking, that was like self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm.
Okay. I used to drink
So you found
a lot.
something that you liked, which was
Here was my I liked it.
like, yeah, but then you
It also made me an extrovert,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
right.
Now I'm in the fraternity. I cannot be, looking like a wallflower, all afraid of people.
Mhm.
A little drink in me brought out
The other side of
the other
Raj.
side of me, right? Not the real DJ Raj.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I was really outgoing when I
Mhm.
was drunk. I was able to say what I needed to say.
Mhm.
Speak my mind, do things that I will never do.
Mhm.
Because it's alcohol, right?
Yeah,
Inhibition is gone.
Yeah.
Your social self is coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, broke around my shell, and I was feeling good
Mhm.
because for the first time in my life, I'm able to express myself.
Mhm.
Because always, my voice has been always channeled inside.
Mhm. Mhm.
Speaking up never been my forte,
Mhm.
right? Like and I was telling, I told you guys here today,
Yeah.
like my previous job before this one,
Yeah.
I got hired. I was told by my former boss, can you come back and be an IT supervisor for my job for my company? And I was like, no,
Because you don't like.
because people is
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
But with alcohol, I could do anything,
Mhm.
right? That also now I started taking that alcohol excuse to a whole new other level.
Mhm.
Because we gotta do like public speaking. We had a class for public speaking, right? It's part of the courses
Yeah.
before you finish college. And when I was sober, I could feel my legs shaking. I got this anxiety way,
Mhm.
through the roof.
Yeah.
But a little Jack and Daniel in me, I'm out there front,
Confident.
confident, giving my speech, interacting with the audience.
Yeah, and they see a good side of you.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that, and that fuels your drinking
It
habit.
is filling that empty slot that I had.
So how often were you drinking? How regular? How, yeah, in a week? How many times would you drink?
Well, it's college, so we used to have a liquor store down the road, right? So,
Did you just hear that? It's college, so it's like no,
It's normal. It's right here, man.
there's so many things wrong with that statement. But go ahead.
so go to the liquor store, grab me 2 bottles of tequila, go home, or Smirnoff, go home. But by the time the weekend is done, those bottles are pretty much gone.
Okay.
So that is like 1.5 liters.
Did it affect you? Hangovers?
But here's the thing though. When I drank a few other things, right? He tried to experiment during my time which one works for me, and I found out that tequila. I drank tequila. I was no hangover in the. I would be drunk through the night and have a party and some people or something, and then by the time 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock reached, I would just go to class. No hangover, no nothing.
So you found what worked for you. So listeners and Kenan, I think he's a young man who has been bottled in since the loss of the father. Socially has been lacking or wanting in that area. I don't know what's the right terminology will be for that. And he finds something that unlocks that part. He just finds something that does that. Just want you talk to the camera, like, frat. You mentioned the frat. Most people like us, we see them. Well, I went to
I've seen in the movies.
You've seen in the movies.
Yes.
They actually went to school where they had frats. But anyway, for people like Kenan,
Hey, let's be clear. It's not like I didn't go to school where I'm
where
not
you went,
educated,
we don't
where I
know
went.
what the frats if they were
Just
there.
making it clear.
Make it clear. Like
Yeah. It's a whole different culture, though.
yeah, it's a whole different culture with frat. And that's where you really talk to a young person, talk to someone who's going to college. What would be your counsel advice? Like, if you go back to speaking to yourself, what would that be like? Because I hear people tell us a little bit about frats. What? And I'm not saying they're bad.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not just saying, how did that, you need a social. They give social. They give that and a whole bunch of things.
It's the same as sororities.
Sororities,
It's the same
right?
thing, yeah. I'm just educating.
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
well,
so
okay.
sorority is for girls,
for
right?
ladies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fraternity is for boys. But here's a good thing about fraternity to begin with. You gotta maintain a high GPA level
For
to
you to
be in
be
a
in there.
fraternity.
Okay.
Okay,
Which you are doing.
yeah, they wanted what 3-3. I was really suppressing that, so that was not the problem. Fraternity also, if you have like rich parents, sponsors or whatever, this fraternity is not for people who are taking loans from the government.
Mm.
It is not, because it's expensive, right? So it's if you get a well-to-do parent, fraternity is good for you.
Yeah.
But it also fosters that brotherhood even to the future. It's not about school over here. It's about brotherhood for life. Like if you're looking out for jobs out there, you have interconnection with your fellow chapter members and all across the country. hmm
Okay. So what would you tell, like, what advice would you give? Or what advice, warning, would you give someone who's like looking into fraternities or in
I'm
fraternities?
sure there's some good things that come out of that, but you gotta know yourself.
Yeah,
Would you?
yeah. To go to the fraternity, first of all, thank you for that comment. Actually, you gotta know yourself. To begin with, because you may easily get lost in between there when you have all these people and all these blending mesh of personalities together away from home in college. Freedom is here. you know so if you're not careful, if you don't know yourself before you go in there, you will get easily lost.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I like that. There's a really one of my quotes I like. It says, if the world asks you who you are and you don't know, it will tell you.
Mm.
Right.
And I think that goes to everything.
Mm.
It's not just even you go to a religious group, you go to a community, you're gonna know yourself first. Otherwise, anything you join will mold and shape you. So for you in this case, and that's what I was driving, this is what it gave you. And because you're still searching and looking yourself, this is what you actually got out of it, is that they know we're looking at here today. There are people who've gone there and they've gotten connections, career, network, and they've been successful in all that. They knew themselves. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yep. That exactly. Also, with the fraternity, of course, if you have bad grades, they kick you out.
Yeah.
Right. It's simple as
So
that.
there's definitely some.
So it is good not only to maintain your academic pursuit and a brotherhood for life. You know. Also, it's nice. You just to be living. With your boys in one house. One big house.
Yeah. One thing.
Also,
One thing I wanted to, yeah, as we segue now
Yeah, like when
to,
you segue.
you said you didn't get hangover.
mm,
You know what they say, but people that don't get hangovers tend to binge drink a lot
mm,
because they don't experience the negative effects of drinking.
Mhm.
So they tend to drink more, and then they're more susceptible to anxiety and depression and alcoholism. So they become addicted
Combination of
more,
those.
and it's all. So it's not a good thing. People pride themselves. I wasn't hangover, but then it's actually worse.
He has
don't
other
experience
he
that
had a
negative
different side effects.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. We have that's why we usually have Ken and he as our therapists to bring this professional
Because
terminology. So
it's easy. It's easy for us to sit here and just not address it, and then someone say, "Oh, so I'm good. I don't
I need to find
hangover."
what
Right.
works for me.
Right.
But then
So,
what's the effects of that?
yeah.
So you get into this, you're down in, is it only alcohol? Did you ever use anything?
it was strictly alcohol.
Okay,
Because the,
strictly
the
alcohol.
thing is, here's the thing. I've always been more above peer pressure. Right. So when it comes to things like your friends are doing this, so they force you to do that to be cool with them. That has never been me. My problem has always been inside searching, trying to find the meaning. Right. So alcohol unlocked what I was looking for. Nothing else was really important at the time other than alcohol. Drowning in and doing what was.
Okay. So now, at some point, alcohol gets you in trouble.
Mm.
What is that?
So actually, during the college year, alcohol was a part of me, but I never got into too much trouble with alcohol. Okay, I was able to finish school. It never interfered with my studies.
Yeah.
Graduated really nice. Okay, then I moved back home.
You're done with college, you move back home.
Back
Right.
back home. Yep. my initial thought was after college I'll go to Texas, okay, because I
Yeah.
just finished my degrees in information systems and computer science. I was like, that is where all the IT stuff is. Like after, because I went my internship I did in Irving, Texas, right? So good company. I was like, all right. When I'm done, they were like, there's an offer for you here when you finish schooling. I was like, yeah, I was excited, right?
Yeah.
And then when that was done, few other things happened here, but my grandmother was living here at the time. She got sick. She got cancer. Okay. So now forget Texas. I cannot go to Texas, right? My grandmother is here now.
You have to take care
Now
of it.
we gotta pull together as a family and you know work on this issue at hand, right? So that's how my sister and I we came together and got our home on the other side of this town, so that grandmother can have a nice place to convalesce when fighting this.
The
Yeah.
cancer.
hmm So we were there for a while, right? A year or so, almost a year. It was 2018, in the beginning of 2018. Okay. Now my grandmother falls, even worse. Whatever treatment she was receiving was not working. So she was told he has a few months to live. Okay. So then there was no reason for her to stay in the US anymore for treatments, because if treatments were not working, then might as well go back home and be with family. Right. So
Going to hospice.
yep. So she went back home. My mother and grandma, they went back home together. So during that time when grandma and mom was home, I was over here in Ramsey, of course, right, getting my drink on. So one night I was drinking, and then I had to go see somebody. So I popped in the car. I'm already drunk. Went all the way down, finished what I was doing, came back. When I was coming back on Highway 610, I was stopped. Okay, because I was really cruising. It was 60. I was doing 85, not minding my speed. Everything else. It's I got pulled over by police. You know, my eyes are bloodshot. I cannot even form a coherent sentence. Right. So the officer is like, "Have you been drinking?" And of course the classic lie is like, "I only had one glass." Only one glass. So I step out. To me, step out, breathalyzer. Oof, 0.25. Right.
High, man.
That is
What is
crazy,
it
right?
supposed to be?
0.08.
0.08 and 0.25.
0.08, 0.25.
Man.
It's a felony.
So I was really up there.
Felony DUI.
That's a felony?
Oh yeah. Right? It's a
Mm.
felony. It's not a felony.
It's gross.
It's-
It's aggressive, so you get charged twice for the drinking and way high of any of the.
okay.
Okay.
So I get hauled. I get hauled to Coon Rapids.
You get arrested.
I get arrested. I get hauled like a sack of.
Arrested.
Like sack of potatoes.
Yes. You're hauled to Coon Rapids PD.
Yeah. They take me to where they usually do the proper
yeah.
testing before they legally
Charge you.
judge you.
Yeah.
So I'm over there. I am freaking out of my mind. Okay. I'm like, I gotta do something, right? So I see these books lying around, for telephone, yellow pages. There's like, yeah, can I make a call? Where's my call? Can I make a call? He's like, yeah, you can make a call. You can give you a cell phone. You can make one call. Call any one of these, a DUI.
Bailers, whatever. People bail you out.
Yeah. Well, not bailers, but lawyers.
Lawyers, yeah.
Because before I got arrested, I got pulled over. I knew I was going in. So I tested my cousin, like, oh,
This is,
yeah. So my cousin knew already. Yeah. Not right then. I think he was sleeping. It was like, I think it was 12 in the morning or 1. Right. Anyway, I'm over there, I'm looking through the yellow pages and I find this nice looking lawyer. He's like, hey, he looks trustworthy. I call him. dude does not make a whole lot of sense. Either it doesn't make a whole lot of sense or I cannot hear properly, you know? Or whatever advice he's giving me just get lost in the translation or something, you know? So what he was telling me is like, do not allow them to actually give you that test because it will solidify the case against you and that would be in a whole lot of trouble, you know? But he did not say that specifically. He was like, you know, wishy-washy, you know? You decide. So I decided, I was like, I don't think I'm off that bad. I can take this and, you know, I think it's been, you know, I took the test.
Point what?
I did 0.28. So I legally get charged drinking under influence. That was 2018 on August.
I remember.
So I hired that lawyer. He comes through the next day. Now I'm like, I gotta fix this by myself, right? I didn't have a whole lot of savings in my account, right? But I had some credit cards. So max like 3 credit cards just to get that lawyer working, you know? Because that lawyer kept putting the fear of God in me. It's like, you know, you're in a lot of trouble. I am the only one who can help you. That time, you know, and how really freaking out you are is like, yeah, I hear you, you know, which is kind of ridiculous because I came to find out a lawyer actually can charge you 2K instead of 7K that dude drained from my account, you know. But I'm freaking out. I max my credit cards, you know, and then, but my family are already, my sister and my cousins and the other cousins and friends, they came together and got some bail money for me and bailed me out, you know, after seeing the judge. So I guess sentence. I was 2 days inside. So I get credit for the 2 days, but I got 90 days hanging over me. 3 months. Because they're supposed to get like 3 months initially, just because how high level that thing was anyway, you know. And then I get 2 years probation. Okay. Unsupervised, you know. The only thing I gotta do is make sure if I leave the country or the state, I let the Anoka people know. You know. And if I get into any
Trouble.
any trouble, right? Even drinking and anything like that, I would go in for the 90 days and more, right? So for those two, I got a breathalyzer too in my car, right? So that thing, I am so ashamed of seeing that thing. You know, I'm hiding it in my bag anywhere. If I see somebody passing when I'm blowing, I stop and put it down my back. You know, it is a shameful thing to have in your car, right? So 2 year probation. No,
So they gave you 2-year probation, and you have the breathalyzer.
and some classes like a
Yeah.
mad
Mad.
moms against
Right.
drunk driving, and an 8-hour course. And of course, my license was suspended, so I had to, you know, take care of all those fees. You know, so altogether, I spent a lot of money just from that one single. My credit was so short; it was like 500 or something.
You learned your lesson.
Hopefully.
I learned a lesson, all right. I learned not to drink and drive.
But not drink. But drink.
Yeah, drink but not drive. Don't combine those two.
We have to
I think we have to do a part 3.
Yeah, I think
We have to do
but
it.
yeah,
And
just
this
keep
chill and laid back, man.
Yeah,
You see how my face is?
I see
We're
how
not
you
rushing
relax
it,
you are,
man.
yeah, but
Listeners,
we wanna
don't
get
worry.
we want to get the
Don't worry. We'll bring you back to part 3. Don't worry. So keep going. How much time do you have?
we're 38 minutes, so we gotta yeah.
Let's keep going. Let's keep it slow. Slow.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
So not drinking or driving, you know. So 2 years I towed the line, right?
2018,
to 20.
2020. You told the line. You're using your breathalyzer. You're going to work and back. You're drinking but not driving.
No. But so keeping away from the police, away from the law, right? Because those 2 years, you know. And then the pandemic came through, right?
Did you finally get off probation though?
Yeah, I got off probation just fine. Yeah,
But no sobriety.
no. So that is ongoing, right? So and then pandemic came through, and then work was shuttered from right. Now it's working from home,
Yeah.
and the job that I do, I'm rarely in front of people. I'm IT. I'm in the background. I'm just
Yeah.
me and my computer.
So you're not going to the office. You're home, down at your office there, working from home, IT. Okay.
Now,
How's that world?
now, since I'm not going to the office, so those 8 hours, I got 8 more hours to drink. Right? You've been where you like. So I will roll. My job usually start like 9 o'clock, right? So I will roll out of bed like 8:50, 8:55. Take a swig of my jug of alcohol, go to the office, log in, just to make sure that I've logged in so people can see he's online, and then go do other things. You know. So between by the time work was done, like 8 o'clock, I probably have finished like 2 bottles of wine. I'm working, but I'm also
While
getting
also
blazed,
drinking.
Yeah.
right? So I'm really there.
Deno, what, why are you, at this point, why are you drinking? What are you, why are you drinking? Simply asked.
If you think about it and process, maybe if you haven't processed.
That's, yeah.
No, I mean, for that time, after the DUI and everything, grandmother died, of course. That one I also did not grieve because I'm a robot by now, There ain't no emotions coming through. I just put everything, down under. So with drinking, the thing about drinking, it also started bringing some compounded issues that are already repressed enough,
Yeah.
right? He started lodging off some few things here and there. And I started looking where my life was at that particular time and where my life was supposed to be, right? Because if we're following this story from the beginning, I'm supposed to have done a lot of things by now. My father passed away when I was 37. By that age, he had already built homes. He put all his siblings, 8 of them, through school.
At 37. And how old are
You
we?
know?
It's right.
At our age.
At our age.
Yeah, don't really. Hey.
We only have the podcast.
Anyway.
Wow. So he
Wow.
had achieved,
You had achieved, man.
and you are 30, but whatever
Early
age
30s
you are,
there.
early
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
So I haven't even come close
Yeah.
even to doing what he had done by that time, right? So I am really fighting a whole lot of feelings that are really ugly, and I felt stuck in such a way that I know I need to do some of these things, but I don't have an avenue to do those things, right? My DUI, of course, I ain't getting no other second job like nursing home or Uber or anything like that because that is 7 years before they even start looking at your direction, right? It's a feeling that is just eating at me, right? And I don't know how to resolve it, And every time I look around, I talk to the family. Everything is like, this is what needs to be happening. This is what is happening. Your father's home back in Kisii needs to get rebuilt. Things like that. And I know I'm supposed to do this, but I don't know how to. I don't even have a self-sustaining job to sustain me and do all those things that are needed, development and all that. So I'm stuck in a rut. And I really don't talk to people. Right? We have established that so far. Putting myself out there has never been.
Your cup of tea.
That is gone. Right? It ain't happening. So, but when I'm drinking, I get that happy feeling in the stomach too. Drink and watch some TV. Binge watch a show. Makes me feel a little bit normal. Right? But the amount of alcohol that I was drinking was slowly rising as my
Yeah.
body was building immunity to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Your tolerance was going yep, high and high.
It kept on going. I kept on drinking. You know. At the time, also since of COVID, everybody was isolating a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's a perfect world for
It,
you.
i- it is it is it is just ripe with just anything that you can think of. So like my mom will go to work and then she'll come at home. She gets home like 11:30 or so, right? By that time, it's like I'm in my own place, just relaxing, and there's no a lot of
Accountability.
a whole lot of communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is one thing actually I learned in such a way that it is good as a family to sit down at least once a day and hash it out. Say anything. I got used so much to eating my food. I was working right from home. I'll go get my breakfast, come down to my and eat my breakfast, lunch. Go at 3 o'clock, get my lunch, come down. Dinner the same way. So it was go like a few weeks without seeing really interacting with the people.
Yeah.
Alone time is the worst time for somebody to have who's struggling with some things.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you self feed yourself. You self feed that the negative things that if you're isolating to drink, it gets worse when you're just alone. And then you're in the pandemic. You can't really interact. You're not DJing at this point. There's no outlet for you to establish that social, social life. So you're self feeding the negative behavior.
It's so interesting, Kenan, because as I listen to Deno, he's an introvert. That is like a perfect world for him.
Perfect storm.
I know for you and I, 2020, we're just going up and down the house, opening the fridge and closing.
But that's why we had to come together.
We had to actually, that's how the podcast is born. It's because like we just couldn't, right?
Yeah.
But because you're not unresolved issues, that world that's supposed to be your perfect world now becomes your catalyst to just eruption of a loading of the next part of where we're going into this podcast, right? Like, it's not the pandemic, it's the unresolved issues. It's just they've been there and now you're building to it. So it's very important what you're saying, Ken, and it's very important what Deno is saying is that, and remember what we talked about conflict, one of our previous podcasts.
Yeah.
Like creating that space to actually address issues.
Yeah.
And I know it's a weak point for most of us. I know we don't like that. I know I don't enjoy, that when you're pushed against the wall. But if we don't do something, we will find ourselves by the wall. Yeah. Well, come, Kevin. So you're there, so you found out like it's important just to have this. So that's your life. That's your life. That's your life. Kenan, we won't do justice. So let's build this to the point of
the low point.
The low point. Let's go when you hit the low point, then we'll end there. Then we'll pick how do we start building on the next podcast of that.
The success story.
So now you're drinking. This is normal. Tolerance level is up. Where does it take you?
So I'm drinking. I'm really getting there. I'm gin soaked. It keeps getting worse because whenever I started drinking, I would just drink when I knew I had a meeting with the bosses. I would cut it back. Be clear-eyed enough to have the meeting and then go back to my my bottle. But that as it progressed, now I got even bolder. I will be drinking while having a meeting with my boss.
Wow.
Or sometimes like I will go out maybe just anywhere walking or things like that. Like I will carry a liquor in my water bottle and drink it. So it is there. It is. I'm not dealing with any issues. I'm really trying to make alcohol dissolve some of these issues that I'm feeling, which I don't want to.
And you're feeding your addiction at this point. You have continued to feed your addiction.
I'm feeding it, so I'm really there until the end of March.
March of 2021.
Last year.
So you do this for a year, because remember the country closed. COVID really March of 2020.
Yeah.
So throughout the whole year, this is what you've been doing. All right. So we're in March 2021.
Yeah. So after my birthday, that is when my identity crisis just hits a whole other, It is like that pressure built in such a disproportionate amount that I feel like I was bursting, right? The general dissatisfaction with life was really big. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like what I was saying. I didn't like any relationship I had previously, because during my drinking, I had also dissolved some of the friendship and relationship I had because of my behavior, right? Because when there's no filter, when you're drunk, anything goes.
Yeah.
You cross some boundaries. You cannot uncross. So some friendship were burnt, and relationship during that tenure.
Yeah.
So during during my birthday, so I'm feeling that I'm feeling useless all the time. I don't even want to get out of bed. Okay. And I'm drinking in such a way that even my work, I'm not even able to do my work properly. So especially when you deal with IT and sensitive systems, you gotta be on point exactly what you're touching, or else the whole company is gonna grind to a halt. Right?
Yeah.
So it got bad. Even I told my boss one day, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna step out. I'm not feeling in the mood right now to work.
You're bold enough to tell your boss that.
Yeah. Because it is not happening anymore. I'm totally checked out.
That you've given up on even your income.
Yeah.
But this is the alcohol speaking.
This is the alcohol really you bringing some ugly things that are, So I am feeling that low that, I feel like since there is not really clear path forward on what I can be able to do to resolve this issue, I feel like it is time to check out.
When you say check out, what do you mean?
It is time to end it, to end my life.
To end your life.
Let's pause there.
Listeners, viewers, I grew up watching soap operas, and they used to end where you just long for the next time.
Because we don't want to rush that part.
We don't want to rush that part of this part. Yeah. So, Kenan, you can take us away. We finish this part.
Let's finish this part.
And then the next part, rock bottom. You want to take your life.
So watch out for part 3.
That's our time. Next week, tune in as we pick it up from Deno is at his lowest.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Amazing Truth Podcast. We hope you were blessed as you listened. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. God bless you, and see you on the next one.